Shit hit the fan with my parents. We got into a huge fight about my future, my job. I didn't have one, I didn't study, so this forced me onto the couch surfing circuit. My options were limited, but a roommate app threw me a lifeline. A guy named Luke offered a room in his 3-bedroom house for a steal, $1,200 a month. He'd basically be my landlord and roommate, though he assured me he'd be out most of the time. The ad mentioned some ground rules: no parties, no heavy gatherings, no living room drinking, and off-limits access to the basement and attic. Seemed standard stuff. I met Luke at the house. A bit reclusive, with a quiet, awkward demeanor. He showed me around, nervous energy crackling in his voice as he explained the layout. My room was good-sized, and the open floor-plan kitchen-living room-dining room combo was a steal for the price. He emphasized the no-go zones again: attic and basement for storage only. Sounded fair. I shook his hand, moved in 2 days later, and skipped the formalities of a lease, just a cash-in-hand agreement each month. Settling in was easy. My room already had basic furniture, so I just hung some decorations and filled the dresser with clothes. Thankfully, it had a lock, and he kindly gave me the key. Luke never disclosed his job, and his "out most of the time" claim turned out to be a total lie. Every time I came home from work, his car was in the driveway. Weird noises started creeping into my nights: footsteps, doors opening and closing. One night, a trip to the bathroom led me past the basement door, slightly ajar. A dim light flickered from a far corner, accompanied by a rhythmic banging. It was 2 a.m. What on earth was he doing down there? The banging stopped, and Luke appeared at the bottom of the stairs, staring up at me. Words can't describe the creepiness. He looked annoyed as I mumbled an apology and scurried back to bed, my mind racing with questions. A week later, I discovered my bedroom door unlocked. Everything seemed to be there, but things had definitely been moved. My clothes were rummaged through, and the closet door hung slightly open. The realization hit me: he had a key, and he clearly went through my stuff. This was a blatant invasion of privacy. I knocked on his door, unanswered, despite his car being in the driveway. Freaked out, I retreated to my room. While microwaving dinner, I heard his door open. My chance to confront him. I caught him leaving and asked about my room. He shot me a blank stare and denied everything. Frustrated, I delicately mentioned the unlocked door and the messed up belongings. He claimed I had the only key and brushed me off, rushing out the door. Furious, but needing advice I wouldn't get from my estranged parents, I hit the apps again, desperate for a new place. This was the first time Luke seemed to be out while I was home. Curiosity gnawed at me. I had to see the basement. Checking his car was gone, I approached the basement door. No light switch. Flashlight in hand, I descended the creaky steps, feeling like I was in a horror movie. The tiny basement had one old couch in the middle, a pervading funky smell intensifying as I neared a locked door in the corner. Part of me didn't want to know what was in there. The smell reeked of raw sewage, amplified tenfold. A quick scan revealed nothing except taped-up cardboard boxes, which I definitely wasn't opening. Back upstairs, I locked the door and stayed put, never hearing Luke return. The next morning, my alarm was silent. Something else woke me up, a floorboard creak beside my bed. I turned to see Luke looming over me. I screamed. He shushed me, his voice low, and demanded to know if I'd entered the basement. Terror surged as I screamed back, denying it and questioning how he got in. He mumbled a response, then turned and walked towards the door. "How did you get in here?" He held up his hand in the darkness, empty. Leaving, he uttered one chilling sentence: "I think you should find other living arrangements." Didn't need telling twice. Hacking frenzy mode engaged. No way was I staying another minute. I barged into his room, yelling for half the rent back since I'd only been there 2 weeks. He cracked the door open, a creepy arm extended, handing me a wad of $100 bills. $400 short, but who cared? Just get out. An hour later, I was fully packed and driving away. That night, the silence. I never heard from him again. He is so creepy. I never thought I would have a roommate like that. He scared me so much. What was in the basement? Living alone in a rural house, my social circle is limited to a few neighbors a half-mile down the road. Town is a 4-hour trek, so I mostly keep to myself, venturing out only when necessary. It was late fall, and I was busy storing my tools and lawnmowers for the winter. Glancing up while working in the yard, I spotted something strange, a man walking along the deserted road leading to my driveway. No backpack, no camping gear, nothing. It was just plain odd. After a while, I brushed it off and finished up outside. Back inside, a loud bang from outside startled me. It came from the shed. Peeking through the window, I saw the shed door wide open, not something that happened on its own. Feeling a mix of caution and responsibility, I grabbed my rifle, a familiar weight in my hands, the worn leather a comfort against my skin. Approaching the shed with measured steps, I listened intently, nothing but the quiet night. Shining my flashlight inside, everything seemed undisturbed. A quick search confirmed no unwanted guests, animal or otherwise. Securing the shed door, a strange feeling crept up on me, intensifying as I walked back to the house. Locking the door behind me, my heart hammered as I spotted a muddy footprint right inside the hallway. Flicking on the light, I followed a trail of dirty shoe prints leading straight to my spare bedroom. My breath hitched in my throat. Holding my breath, I crept up to the door, rifle clutched tight in a cold sweat. A low breathing sound sent chills down my spine. Before I could react, the doorknob twisted and the door swung open. A large man, eyes blazing with rage, lunged at me, brandishing a metal shovel like a weapon. Instinct took over. I raised my rifle, the familiar weight a grounding force in the chaos. We stood in a tense standoff, the man's anger a palpable presence in the air. Calling the police wouldn't bring them quickly, and holding him at gunpoint for an hour was a risky proposition. The silence stretched, broken only by our ragged breaths. Suddenly, the man threw the shovel aside with a snarl and scrambled out the window like a startled animal. I watched in disbelief as he disappeared into the vast emptiness of the night, the rustling grass the only trace of his escape. To this day, the man and his motives remain a mystery. One thing is certain, if I hadn't had my rifle, things could have ended much differently. The incident left a permanent mark on me, a stark reminder of the vulnerability of my isolated existence. Even now, the quiet nights hold a different weight, laced with a vigilance that wasn't there before. The solitude that once felt peaceful now carries a tinge of unease. Every rustle in the wind, every creak of the floorboard sends a jolt through me, a constant reminder of the night a stranger violated my sanctuary. But I won't let fear control me. I'll invest in a security system, be more aware of my surroundings, and hold on to the hope that this unsettling encounter was a bizarre one-off.